Hello again, YouTube. Not quite the video I had been intending to make after my previous... I think my last one was the A5 Meowcafe shop POB binder setup. My next video had been planned on my end to be a joint unboxing of a big with youth inclusion group order, as well as storing all my with youth inclusions, like just a video that is those two things combined. Maybe filmed in one sitting, maybe like a two-part or like a cut in the middle between those two things, but still one video. That's still probably gonna be my next video. Hopefully my geo stuff will be in pretty soon. It's definitely moving, but still in the process of getting sorted and sent my way. However, I did want to record something I had been thinking about doing for maybe over a year at this point. So this is a type of video that is definitely not unique. I've seen this video made by quite a few K-pop collectors, like K-pop collector YouTubers specifically, over the past couple years. Like especially, like I've used videos like this as references to help me out in choosing some of the things I'm going to show today. But this video, probably with the title something like, I don't know, Twice Collector's Guide to K-pop Supplies. That sounds pretty good. I might go with that. But that's what this is. I'm going to go through pretty much everything I use in terms of actual collection materials and supplies. So when I say that, I refer to things like binders, sleeves, pages, top loaders, just everything I can really think of that like a lot of collectors would maybe be able to use some good feedback on. But my take on it is going to be through the lens of someone who collects a shit ton of Twice stuff and nothing for any other groups. So this is a Twice focus, like a Twice inclusion focused perspective on K-pop supplies. Hopefully will help out a lot of onces and other like Twice fans who collect Twice, but maybe want to see how some of the supplies used by like the wider K-pop collection community apply to Twice inclusion specifically, how they look, how they fit, stuff like that. And if you're watching this and you don't collect Twice, I'm sure some of this stuff will still be applicable. Obviously, things like Photocards and stuff usually are sized pretty universally between even groups and companies. So, my advice on like Photocard sleeves, for example, will probably apply to most people who collect Photocards. So, feel free to take whatever you want from this, whether you collect Twice or not. But my focus is going to be on how all this stuff applies to someone who collects Twice. That being said, don't want to dally too much, so I will get started. And I'm going to start with the supplies I use for what is probably like the main bulk or focus of my collection. Definitely the part that I, collect the most thoroughly and completely and also care the most about, which are my Korean album cards. And we are going to take a look at one of my two Korean album card binders. The other one uses pretty much the same materials, like binder, sleeves, pages, etc. So, and in this video, I'm going to not only go through the like sleeves and pages and stuff that I have settled on using personally for my collection at the moment, but also where it applies, I'm going to provide comparisons to alternative options that I've either used in the past or, maybe I'll give some feedback on some that I've seen used, and even if I haven't used them personally. But for the most part, I'm going to compare options that I've, have some level of experience with personally between things I used in the past and things I'm using now. One thing I haven't really wavered on to start, so Korean album binder here. One thing that I've never really wavered on is 3-ring standard A4 size binders, which is what this is. This is one of my A4 standard size Photocard binders. For binders, there's a lot of different options. You have, what I've gone with here, which is a standard. This is a Cardinal brand, like black standard A4, like office binder. Cardinal is an office supply brand. Cardinal is one of the 2 office supply brands that I have gravitated towards for binders over the years. Again, specifically A4 binders. The other one being Avery. Between Avery and Cardinal, not really too much of a difference, to be honest. I very marginally prefer Cardinal just because the finish of the the clear plastic on the covers is just a little nicer to the touch, in my opinion, than that of Avery. But other than something like really minor like that, you'll do pretty well with either brand, as long as you get the color you like, a spine thickness that works for you. This is a 2-inch binder specifically. But one thing I do want to say about binders, office supply, like reputable office supply brands, Cardinal and Avery being 2. There are others, I'm sure. Staples, I've heard, makes pretty good office binders. Amazon Basics might. I'm not super familiar. I know Amazon Basics is hit or miss with like a bunch of other products in other fields, but I've heard decent things about their office binders, so something like that might work too. So office supply brands, usually pretty good. Like the good ones are good in terms of material quality, sturdiness of the cover material, how good the stitching is on where the spine attaches to the covers. Really, really hard to do any real damage to one of these binders. This is in stark contrast to one of the few materials that I don't have any of these to show you because I've thrown the few I had away. But I will caution against one thing in this video more than anything else in terms of like me giving a negative review of some products. And that is, do not under any circumstances, I highly, highly, highly recommend against specifically 3-ring A4 binders from brands that make trading card game supplies. So, and these are brands that some of you might be familiar with for other things like sleeves, especially. So Dragon Shield, Ultra Pro, Ultimate Guard, BCW, those are like the big 4 I can think of. There's probably a couple others that people, use supplies from. Most other things that those companies make, pages, sleeves, etc., have their own ups and downs. Dragon Shield's sleeves are my preferred sleeve for a lot of things, as we're about to see. So can highly recommend a lot of products from those companies in other categories, but specifically for binders themselves. Again, 3-ring binders, stay far away. They are horrifically constructed. They're basically made of like paper mache. I've had an Ultra Pro 3-ring binder just kind of be able to like peel itself right here, like just without very much force at all, just rip like that. They're universally terrible. So that's the one thing for an A4 3-ring binder. I would just stay away from those. Otherwise, solid office brands will do you really well. Binders, A4 binders from shops like Meowcafe shop, like K-pop specialty shops that have popped up over the past couple years for U.S. customers, like U.S.-based shops specifically. I live in the U.S., so this is more relevant to people who also live in the U.S. But Prism Platinum is a popular one. Prism Platinum is based in Australia, but they ship to the U.S. and I believe recently opened a U.S. branch. So they ship from that branch, I believe, to U.S. customers now. As well as Meowcafe shop and Manju Deco, who, both of those shops started in the U.S. Those K-pop specialty shops that sell an increasing catalog of supplies for K-pop collectors have a lot of really good stuff that I'll show off and talk about because I do have some stuff from a few of those shops. As far as A4 binders go, I can recommend one that I have and I'm not really familiar with with anything else from any of those types of shops. But that one is good, so we'll take a look at it in a minute. But if you want, I will say that those specialty shops, like those special K-pop shops, an A4 binder from any of those shops that have such a thing is going to run you quite a bit more than an equivalently sized A4 binder from like even a good office brand. Like this Cardinal binder is from a line of their binders that's like kind of more premium, and it was still significantly cheaper than the binder I got from one of those specialty K-pop shops. Now, the binders from those specialty K-pop shops might have other benefits that can't be replicated by an office binder, which mine does, and I'll talk about that. But if you're just looking for something basic, 3-ring, really hard to go wrong with an office brand. So enough about the binder. We'll get to the pages themselves. The pages are actually, let me get real quick. I actually recently made the change to these 9-pocket pages to these. I use Meowcafe Shop A4 standard size, 69 by 93 millimeter. That's the size of each pocket, not the size of the page itself. 9-pocket pages. So these are Meowcafe Shop pages. Again, I mentioned Meowcafe Shop is one of the recently bigger K-pop specialty shops based in the US, so I decided to give them a try. I've actually made a couple orders with them in the past month or two. This is one of the things I ordered quite a bit of. I think I got, these come in packs of 25. I think I got 4 or 5 packs of these and used all but one. My entire Korean album collection is now in these pages, between this binder and my other album binder. So it was kind of a big commitment to rehome my entire collection. Pretty happy I did, though. I will talk about what I was using before. Which are an option a lot more people will probably be familiar with. Ultra Pro Platinum 9-pockets. And just to compare, you can see a couple obvious differences, and I'll talk about some that aren't as obvious. Ultra Pro Platinum pocket pages are 3-holed, just the 3 standard holes for a standard A4 3-ring binder setup. Meowcafe Shop pages are actually 11-holed, and that's to accommodate not only, as you can tell, 3-ring binders, like so standard A4 3-ring binder setups. These pages, obviously, you can see, fit perfectly. But they also fit 4-ring setups, which will become relevant because Meowcafe Shop, their A4 binders, they only sell A4 binders in a 4-ring format, which is pretty uncommon for like a US-based company. My understanding is that 4-ring binders, I've always seen, at least on YouTube, in terms of like K-pop collectors, I've definitely seen other brands of 4-ring binders from different collector channels, but I had kind of noticed it was mostly European-based collectors that were using 4-rings, so I assumed it was kind of like a regional thing. Like 3-rings were more common here. In some parts of the world, hit my camera there. In some parts of the world, 4-rings are more common. But now we have Meowcafe Shop in the US who is selling 4-rings. So other than that, the holes don't really make too much of a difference after whatever ring setup you have, once they're in there. In terms of quality of the material, I will say Meowcafe Shop pages are just nicer in terms of material quality, both in clarity and like feel and sturdiness of the material, of the plastic, than their Ultra Pro counterparts. That doesn't just apply, by the way, to the 9-pockets, as we're going to see. I have a few more Meowcafe Shop pages to show off in later in this video that I'll have Ultra Pro or other brands like equivalents to compare to. And pretty much universally, the Meowcafe Shop pages win in terms of quality, but not by a ton. I would say if you had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, if Meowcafe Shop is a 10, which maybe isn't, maybe these aren't like the absolute highest quality page material on the planet. But by 10, I just mean like, if you set them arbitrarily at a 10 to compare like the Ultra Pro page, I'd say it's like an 8. So it's like the difference between an 8 and a 10. So not crazy, but still notable. The main reason I bothered to upgrade, and again, I will say it is an upgrade because of the material difference. The main reason I decided to upgrade was not actually because of the quality difference, which I knew would be there, but wouldn't have quite justified how much more these pages cost than these pages, because the box right here, this is a mostly empty, but still, I can show the box. This box had 100, I believe. Does it say anywhere? Yeah. This is a 100-page box of Ultra Pro Platinum 9-pocket pages. This costs maybe 25-ish bucks on Amazon right now. Probably pretty similar no matter where you get them, like in a card shop or something. So that's for 100 pages, 25 bucks. The Meowcafe shop pages, I want to say each pack of 25, again, which I ordered 5 of. I believe it was 5 specifically. Oh, my dog. So I ordered 5 of these 25 packs. They each run, I think it was $11. So somewhere between 50 and 60 bucks for a 5 25 packs. I guess no, that's probably not fair to compare. If each one was 11 bucks, that would be like 45-ish bucks for the same amount of pages as the Ultra Pros. So 100 of those pages versus 100 of these pages. Pretty close to twice as expensive per page for the Meowcafe shop pages. And they are better quality, but not double the quality. So I didn't make the switch purely because of the quality jump, but mostly because the Ultra Pro Platinum pages, not 100% of the time, but enough to where it was bothersome, had an issue that I have seen complaints about with these pages over the years. But it's kind of like hit or miss in terms of if you're just going to roll badly on getting this issue with any number of pages that you have from Ultra Pro. And that is that this left bottom corner just curls. I don't know if it focuses. Like this left bottom corner, just on its own, will curl up and in. Not to the degree I'm doing it right now. Obviously, you can see I'm like forcing this with my fingers to show the direction, but it does curl this direction somewhat. And you can see, maybe you can't see very clearly. But yeah, some large number of pages of Ultra Pro Platinum pages have this issue where this bottom corner curls. And it curls hard enough that it actually, over the course of a couple months, has curled some of my cards in the same direction. Like the bottom left corner of some of the cards I've had in these pages have a slight curl after a few months in these pages. Which I collect a lot of OG9. You can see that usually means Dahyun's cards. Not that I would be cool with any of the members' cards being essentially damaged in this way. But it does hurt a tiny, tiny bit extra when it's one of my biases. Or my second bias, essentially. So that issue had been kind of plaguing me in my tenure of using Ultra Pro Platinum pages for a long time. I just really couldn't come up with like a good alternative, because Ultra Pro Platinum pages quality and like material quality wise, like I said, they're pretty fucking good, especially for the price, even compared to Meowcafe shop pages, which are better quality but probably more expensive than the jump in quality, relative to Ultra Pro. However, I can say happily that the Meowcafe shop pages do not have the curling issue at all. They've actually helped straighten a lot of the Dahyun cards that I had put in here after they had been slightly curled by the Ultra Pro pages. So for me, having a brand that at this point I do trust the quality on quite a bit was kind of worth it, in tandem with the quality increase like objectively from Ultra Pro Platinum pages, for me it was worth the upgrade to these pages in terms of price. Like, it was definitely, like, I can say on this side of the purchase where I've put everything in, I'm happy with the purchase. But something to keep in mind on if you are using a brand of page that you are happy with, even if it's Ultra Pro Platinum pages, if you are not experiencing the issue I'm talking about, the Meowcafe shop pages might not be worth their relatively pricey, cost. But you do get very high quality pages for it. So, your mileage may vary, is all I'm saying. So that's it for the pages. For the sleeves I use in these pages, I use single sleeve for my Korean album cards. And the specific sleeves I use are Dragon Shield. For Korean album cards, I only have ever used these specific sleeves. Dragon Shield, Clear Classic, standard size card sleeves. There's really not much to say. These are, like, Dragon Shields have a reputation for quality from trading card game players. Like, they are considered like kind of the gold standard for a quality hard sleeve in, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, trading card game player communities. And it's not hard to see why. Like, clarity of the sleeve is top notch. Some of the thickest sleeves you'll find on the of any brands, trading card game, K-pop, specialty shop, etc. Just very few come close to the raw thickness of the material. The only thing with these sleeves is the size. You can tell these are made for Magic the Gathering and other standard size trading card game cards. You can tell there's a decent amount of like wiggle room on pretty much every side, top, bottom, left, and right. So they're just not sized to like have a fitted, feel on K-pop Photocard specifically. I don't really mind that too much. It's worth both the quality of the sleeve itself, as well as the sleeve fills out pages that have pockets designed for standard size, sleeved cards, which include not only the Meowcafe shop pages I bought specifically, but also Ultra Pro Platinum pages and pages from most brands. 9-pocket pages from most brands will be sized to fit Magic and Pokemon size sleeve cards. So if you run sleeves designed for those same cards, then they fill out the pockets a lot more fully. So if I had all my cards sleeved in Photocard size sleeves, but still in these Magic the Gathering standard size pocket pages, what you would see, and I did this for like a month back when I first started collecting before I switched to these larger sleeves, is I had them in sleeves that were more fitted to the Photocards, but not to the pockets themselves. So they would, like, the sleeved cards would just be kind of uneven and like shifting in the pockets as I would flip through or like close the binder. Just looked really messy. The cards stay pretty much centered where you put them in even the larger Dragon Shield sleeves. And then the sleeves are big enough to keep them in place in the pockets. So it just results in an overall very clean, like, static setup for your cards. So would recommend that setup. Next piece of my collection where I can start to talk about more materials. This is another A4 sort of size binder. You can tell from the logo. Well, maybe you can't tell, but the logo is a little cat on the metal clasp for the strap. This is a Meowcafe brand binder. Same brand as the pages I just showed in my Korean album binder. So this is an A4 sort of size binder, but I did mention it's a 4-ring binder, which most binders that are made, most A4 size binders that this company makes are going to be this 4-ring setup. not only is it 4-ring, but it's also A4 plus sized. What that means, I'll bring this back actually. You can see, in terms of the size of the covers, like the binders themselves, here, I'll try to see. You can see I have them lined up on the bottom here. And if I slide them down, still lined up, you can see the top. It's maybe hard to see if I don't slide it down more. That's like an inch. The Meowcafe shop binder, the A4 Plus binder, is just an inch taller than this normal office brand A4 standard size binder. And this may be a little harder to show, but it's also, like if we line them up on the spines here, it's also not quite as much of a difference in width, but maybe like half an inch or 3/4 of an inch. So it's just an overall larger profile for the binder size itself, which Meowcafe has dubbed, I think proprietarily. I don't think I've ever heard of A4 Plus from anywhere else. I could be mistaken on that. Maybe they didn't invent it, but they call it A4 Plus. So what this allows them to do, like what this slightly larger A4 profile allows them to do, is create slightly larger pages that, due to being slightly larger, can have pocket layouts and sizes that allow them to hold inclusions. Because remember, I mentioned Meowcafe Shop is one of the K-pop specialty shops that's popped up over the past couple years in the US. The larger A4 Plus profile allows them to create pages with pockets that have layouts and sizings that allow them to hold certain inclusions better, or just flat out at all, that competing brands like Ultra Pro and BCW, who also make other pocket pages aside from 9 pockets, like that those brands can't really do in the same way. So we're going to talk a little bit about some examples. I have some BCW and Ultra Pro pages to compare to the exclusively Meowcafe Shop pages in this binder. And what I'm using this binder for, and the associated Meowcafe Shop pages, are to hold, well, this first page is a bad example, but I'm using it to hold mostly Korean album large inclusions. With, on the front here are going to be a couple of things that aren't Korean album inclusions, that are more like a temporary, like this binder is like a temporary home for them. But I can still talk about some of the Meowcafe Shop pages and compare them to, their alternatives with even the non-album inclusion stuff that I have in here. The first of which are these. This probably looks pretty much like the Meowcafe Shop 9 pocket pages I showed in the Korean album binder, but this is again an A4 Plus page. So these are 9 pocket large size. And the main difference is that the sizings on the pockets are more or less 10 millimeters larger, both horizontally and vertically. And that allows these 9 pocket pages to hold things that normal 9 pocket pages, both from Meowcafe Shop as well as brands like Ultra Pro, BCW, etc., just could never dream of holding. One of which are these. So these are normal album photo cards, though normal is in quotes here. These are the selfie cards from the Christmas limited edition of Twice Coaster Lane 1. And I have them because these are actually pretty rare, like high value cards, and I'm also very proud to own the full OT9 set. I went ahead and sleeved them and put them in these special Photocard sized top loaders. which allows me to take a quick segue to talk about, let's see, about how I did so. So these top loaders that I have these cards in within the page, the inner sleeve that they're in before the top loader are these. This is from another one of the K-pop specialty like supply shops that I talked about, US-based Deco. And these are 57 by 88, Photocard size sleeves. So these are sleeves that are pretty much sized perfectly to fit any album photo cards, at least from Twice, probably other groups too, like most other groups, but also cards that are the same size as album photo cards. So that would be, for Twice, that would be POBs, Lucky Draws, well, store POBs, not the JYP POB packs of cards. Those are a little bigger, too big for these. So I have those in these sleeves, the Christmas cards. And then once in those sleeves, again from Deco, the specifically Photocard size top loaders. And just to compare them to a normal top loader from BCW, which is 3 by 4 inches, you can see these are notably smaller. Just in both directions, horizontal and vertical. You might notice they look a lot cloudier here than they did when, I showed Sui's card here. Like, they're actually really, really high quality, like plastic material, like high clarity as well, as you could see when I held Sui's up to the camera. The reason this empty one, this new one, unused, looks cloudy is because they actually come with a little, I'm not going to take it off, but they come with a little, let me see if I can take it off a little bit. Yeah. They come with a little film on both sides, which is what's causing this cloudier finish because the film hasn't been peeled off yet. So pretty cool by them to provide that little bit of extra protection for the, the clarity of the top loaders until you're actually ready to use them. Next up are the Meowcafe shop 2-pocket pages. That would be these. And these are just a flat out like size and material upgrade in every way from the Ultra Pro or BCW counterparts that a lot of y'all might be familiar with, which I do have an example of here. Sorry, I was not as prepared for this video in terms of getting everything gathered and organized behind the camera as I thought it was. But here it is, a BCW. And just going forward, I will say that for pretty much every of these not 9-pocket page like pocket layouts, the BCW or Ultra Pro version that I'm going to show, for where, for the ones I have, any BCW or Ultra Pro version of, Ultra Pro and BCW are pretty, like 99% equivalent in terms of material quality and definitely size. Like all their pocket pages are exactly the same layout and size, like both the page size and the pocket size. So anytime I bring out, for 2 pockets I use BCW, everything I say about this BCW 2-pocket page pretty much applies 1-to-1 to an Ultra Pro 2-pocket page. Just flat out. Now, what do I have to say specifically about this page? Well, you can see here, I'm using these 2-pocket pages to store some of these larger like postcard-esque inclusions, but that are just even bigger than the standard 4x6 postcards that Twice use for their albums. Like most of their album postcards are 4x6. This is a lot bigger. So let's see. Specifically what these are, just to quickly give an idea of what kind of inclusions these pages can hold. This right here is the pre-order photo for the page 2 monograph. And then behind it you can see I have the page 2 large postcards, like the page 2 monograph large postcards themselves in the same pages. So just for measurements, I don't really have to give the measurements of the inclusion. You can see here, these are 215 by 154 millimeter pockets. And they hold these larger photos and postcards pretty much perfectly. Like for Twice at least, I don't think I've come across any like non-album, like large postcard type inclusion that wouldn't just fit in one of these 2-pocket page pockets. They slide in, fits pretty much perfectly on the vertical. It's snug enough to stay centered and in place, but not tight enough to be at all scary or anything to put in here. And then on the horizontal, a little bit of wiggle room, but not much. It's sized pretty close to perfectly for this sort of thing. So, and then the same exact deal for these page 2 monograph postcards, which I believe are the exact same size as this photo, as the pre-order photo. As far as album inclusions that could go in here, we'll see one in just a moment that is, I believe, from what I can remember, pretty much the only Korean album inclusion that will probably make good use of these pages. So, keep that in mind if you're interested in this sort of thing, but wondering what you as a Twice collector at home could use it for. But before that, we get to the final 2 pages of non-Korean album inclusions. These just happen to be random, like ticket merch set. What are they called? I think they're literally called just ticket sets that are just basically little merch bundles that they've sold for. These 4 are World in a Day, and then these 2 were for the 3 tour. For the 3 tour ones, the ticket cards that those merch sets came with actually have the members themselves. For World in a Day, they were member ticket like bundles, but the ticket cards were just all identical group photos, which is fine. And these all fit in this wonderful That's embarrassing. It took longer to find that than I thought. In these wonderful 6-pocket pages. These are 6-pocket strip pages specifically. So as you can tell, there's going to be a lot of K-pop, not for Twice specifically, at least for Korean album inclusions. I want to say for Korean album inclusions, there's only 1 or 2 inclusions across all of their albums that would really fit well in these. But there are a few, and then obviously I'm using them for a couple of non-album inclusions, so that's good too. But these are sized for like bookmarks and strips, like film strip style inclusions. Which comes into play more here, which are just a kind of random assortment of bookmark inclusions that have just come from various places over the years. This is the Twice Lights Blu-ray bookmark, like holographic bookmark. These are, I want to say, pre-order bonuses from Target for Taste of Love and In Nayeon, respectively. And then I think this larger bookmark was a lucky draw bonus for ordering 3 or more, or at least 3 lucky draw albums from maybe Soundwave or Withmu, which are one of the shops they did between 1 and 2 lucky draws for. Just happened to have Tsui's from a group order where I committed to buying at least 3 Lucky Draw albums, so stored it here. And here's the album inclusion I was talking about that make use of the 2 pocket pages. The Summer Nights large Polaroid cards. These actually fit similarly to the monograph postcards and the monograph pre-order photo. On the vertical, they fit pretty much perfectly with like just a tiny bit of wiggle room at the bottom. So again, a snug fit to where they stay centered, like on their own. Like this doesn't move side to side almost at all. But it's not tight, so it's not like damaging the card in any way. And then obviously since it's a square, like it's more of a square Polaroid, there's quite a bit of, room on the horizontal on either side. But it kind of lets you make a cool sort of like centered setup. So it still looks really clean and symmetrical. I just happen not to have a full OT9 set of this inclusion. I have Sana, Jihyo, Mina, Dahyun, Chaeyoung, not even Sui's. Hopefully we'll fix that soon. And more is actually where we'll start to see I have pretty much all complete OT9 sets of album inclusions. So I'll be able to, provide a more comprehensive look at how album inclusions from more and more onward work in some of these Meowcafe shop pages. Sorry about that, had to readjust something on my camera. But anyway, so the main thing with these Meowcafe shop 4-pocket pages is that their competition is not just, so here is a fairly beat up, but it'll do the job. Here's a 4-pocket page from BCW, but that's not really its main competition for specifically twice 4x6 postcards. That would be this. BCW or Ultra Pro, again, Ultra Pro makes both of these formatted pages and they're pretty much identical to these, quality-wise and pocket size-wise. It's these 3-pocket pages. That's because, I'll show with Momo here. We will see. The 4-pocket pages from these brands, so she goes in, it goes vertically. Oh, it's bottomed out in the pocket and still has like half an inch sticking out. And then the same, just to demonstrate. The biggest problem is when it comes to the top pockets here. See, yep, bottomed out, can't go any lower. And it's sticking out like half an inch. So these just don't fit twice album postcards, the 4-pocket pages. Whereas the 3-pocket pages fit these postcards sleeved or not, and also, completely in the pocket. And then same thing with the horizontal pocket here on top. Goes in completely securely. A little bit of wiggle room on the horizontal, a little bit more on the vertical, but still pretty fitted. But not quite as fitted as this 4-pocket from Meowcafe shop. Where it's, especially a sleeved postcard will fill out this pocket pretty snugly. So these are the only pages from Meowcafe shop that I'm utilizing for inclusions, for twice album inclusions, that I don't think is necessarily strictly an upgrade to the BCW counterpart in terms of formatting specifically. So material-wise, like I keep mentioning, material-wise, Meowcafe shop wins for sure. But obviously, twice being a 9-member group, you kind of see here, I had a couple options for how to lay out their inclusions, because obviously 4 is not a number that's divisible cleanly into 9, right? So I kind of landed on splitting them like this, still 3 members to a page, and just leaving arbitrarily this bottom left slot on each page empty. Could have been this spot, could have been this spot or this spot. I just chose this spot kind of, randomly. I did have the option of doing something that I think a lot of other people, it's probably more efficient to do it this the way I think a lot of other people would probably do it, which is to just fill out each pocket. So na jung mo sa ji mi da che, and then like Sui either on the back or by herself on the third page. I just really, the symmetry is just too important to me aesthetically. Like having the pages all equal in formatting, even if each page on its own isn't like symmetrical, having the symmetry between the pages of like 333 is just, it just makes too much sense. Whereas with the 3-pocket page, obviously, you know, you can only do 3, or I guess if you do on the back side, either 3 or 6 to a page, but still, you know, on each side, you can only have 3 postcards. So it would always be like, you know, Najangmo, Sajimi, Dachesu in 3 pages. And that was really clean. It looked good since it filled out the page. The page is smaller and the pockets are laid out so that, you know, it would just fill the page out more than having an entire quarter of these 4-pocket pages be unused. So, you know, that's a bit of a shame that the layout isn't really as clean as the BCW/Ultra Pro alternative, but it's still well worth it to be able to have the postcards in this binder, in these Meowcafe shop pages, like with the rest of my inclusions. And also, like I said, the material quality itself of the pages is higher. So that's a trade-off I'm willing to make to just have them here. And this layout works well enough, so. Now here we have these 6-pocket pages. These 6-pocket square pages, you can actually see they're not quite squares. They're 105 by 102 millimeter pockets. So they're actually a little bit longer on the horizontal than tall on the vertical. But functionally, they're like they're pretty close to being squares. They're like essentially squares. You can see they're sized actually really appropriately, so appropriately for the twice coaster cards that the listing on Meowcafe shop for this page on their official site actually has like twice coaster cards as part of like the example page of inclusions that they show on their listing to like advertise the type of stuff it can hold. So pretty close to perfect fit on these. Coasters come in and out very smoothly and easily, but they're snug enough that they don't move around at all in the pockets. And I have them laid out, you know, 3 to a side, so Najang Mo, backside, Saji Mi, Dache 2. And again, a little bit unfortunate that 6 isn't divisible into 9 cleanly either. So I did have to split them up a little bit awkwardly, but you know, only this much empty space on the second page is not too bad. Now here we have a return of the 9-pocket large square, or not large square, the 9-pocket large pages. This is an inclusion that I was really excited about when I realized that I would be able to store these in these large 9-pocket pages, because before this, these are the Eyes Wide Open message cards. These just do, like, flat out, these do not fit in the 9 pockets in like standard size 9-pocket pages, which I'll show here with an Ultra Pro page. And also an extra I have of Nayon's message card. So this is a normal ass 9-pocket standard A4 Ultra Pro page. Again, the pockets are pretty much identical in size between these and the Meowcafe brand standard A4 9-pocket pages, but again, these are the large 9-pocket pages. So we see here goes in horizontally, so it does go in, but sticks out just far too much for my liking. This would really become a problem on the top row. So goes in on the top row, but it's sticking out it's sticking out enough that the tops would be sticking out of the binder itself if you had this in like an A4 like office binder. So this is just a non option for this sort of thing. Whereas here, you can see they fit completely within the pockets. Only just barely. They are actually really close to the edge of the pockets, like the top of the pockets. So they are still pretty tall photo cards, but they do fit completely within, and obviously horizontally they fit with a little bit of give on either side. So really solid fit overall. I can't express how happy I am that these fit in these pages like this, because this set of the Ewo message cards are an inclusion I had given up on storing this cleanly, or even close to this cleanly, ever. Because before this, I had been using these. These are Ultra Pro 8 pocket pages. So before, I had been using these. And these do only just barely fit the cards on the horizontal. Like, so you slide them in, they do fit pretty comfortably in the pocket vertically, but they're bordering on just too tight horizontally, but they do fit. And I would say that they just barely work. Like, they're not too tight, but it's a little scary putting the cards in. So there's that, but they do fit. But also, these are 8 pocket pages and twice as a 9-member group. And that's come up before, but this was easily the worst looking like way of storing any of the larger inclusions that I had come up with before Meowcafe stuff. So how I had it was, I believe, I don't even really remember 100%, but it was close to this. I believe it was, I had 3 cards to a page. Yes, so I had 3 cards to a page for 8 pocket pages. So what I would do is I would have the message cards here. So say I don't have extras, but say I had Na Jung Mo. So I would do the zigzagging thing I did with the coaster cards. Na Jung Mo. And then in the other 5 whole pockets of each page, I just had blank, like, what do they call it? I had like blank playing card fillers. So most of the page of these 8 pocket pages that I had these message cards on were just these white fillers with 3 cards just on each. It was terrible. It looked horrible and I hated it for a long time. But now I have this. I am considering, now that I'm looking at it, so to really, because these are really beautiful cards. Like, the photos are really high quality on the cards themselves. I love the styling for the style concepts that they use here. And then I these are really nice cards to look at for me. Like, these are some cards I think are really nice to look at and appreciate. Just, you know, like most twice inclusions, I think I like to appreciate and, like, you know, look at them pretty often. But these especially are really nice. But I'm thinking right now, in a world where I'm trying to look at them, I'm probably like rotating my head a little bit, or the binder to look at them landscape like this. Maybe I should rearrange them so that when I'm looking at it like rotated in landscape, it's Na Jung Mo Sa Ji Mi Da Che Tsu. I don't know. Because when I'm looking at it from this angle, the same angle I'm filming from, it's correct, right? Na Jung Mo Sa Ji Mi Da Che Tsu. I'll have to ponder that. And so will you if you choose to store these in these Meowcafe Shop large 9 pocket pages, which, again, recommend if you're going to. So the thing with the Meowcafe Shop pages is, since the A4 Plus pages are too large to fit in a normal A4 like office brand binder, they do have the holes to actually fit the 3-ring binders, like the center hole and some of these other like side holes like you can get them on the rings of like an Avery or a Cardinal binder, but they stick out pretty heavily on the top and bottom because they're just taller than normal A4 size pages. So you really kind of have to commit if you're going to go with some of these A4 plus pages. You kind of have to commit to the whole setup of the binder as well, like the actual A4 binder. And for some pricing on some of this stuff, since I haven't talked about it yet, the binder itself, I believe on Meowcafe shop, I have the A4 2-inch binder, like 2-inch spine thickness. I believe that ran me about $45 for the binder. And then, actually maybe it ran me like, I think it was actually below 40. I think it was 36, 37 or something, but I think it was 45 with like a bundle of some pages as well, which they do. They often have bundles and sales and stuff. The pages themselves kind of fluctuate in price. Like I said, they offer discounts on certain things like bundles and stuff pretty often, so it can be a little hard to say for sure how much you would pay for any specific order of items, but the normal price for a lot of these pages range from $12 to $15 for a pack of 10 for like the A4 plus pages, like these bigger pages. And then my pages of my pack of the A4 standard size pages that I use for my Korean album cards that I showed before was, like I said, it was like 11 or $12 for a pack of 25. So you pay a bit of a premium for the larger form factor pages. But you know, I would say I'm pretty happy with my upgrade to this entire setup, but it can definitely be, it's pricey, so I'm not going to pretend it's not. But if you like what you see and you're willing to commit to the time and, you know, cost of upgrading to a setup like this, at least for some of these inclusions, then, you know, I can say I'm pretty happy with it. And then we have the sleeved postcards here, starting with Taste of Love. All my postcards are sleeved from here on out in the 4-pocket pages. And just to show the sleeves I use for my 4x6 postcards, that would be these from, again, Mondu Deco, 103 by 153 millimeter postcard sleeves. They sell in packs of 50. Mondu Deco, pretty reasonably priced on sleeves and, you know, everything I bought from them so far. I think a pack of 50 of these runs, I want to say it ran less than $10, maybe like $9.99 or $8.99 for this pack. And then like the pack of top loaders that I showed off, a pack of 25 of the Photocard top loaders ran, I want to say $10. And then the pack of Photocard sleeves I showed before was probably like $5 or $6 for 50 sleeves, I want to say. Let me see, actually. Yeah, 50 sleeves. So, if you want to get an idea for prices on Mondu Deco stuff that I've showed so far. Coaster cards for Taste of Love, same 6-pocket page layout as More and More. Postcards and twinned photos from Formula of Love. Nyan postcard, the clear postcards with index card backings, and the first page we've seen this type of inclusion, which is the Polaroid cards. Not the large Polaroids from Summer Nights, but the smaller, more or less Photocard size Polaroids. Again, the A4 plus large 9 pockets make a return. And they fit these Polaroid cards pretty much perfectly. They're in there snug horizontally. You know, obviously since the Polaroid cards are a little closer to being square than most photo cards, there's a little extra room on the top of the pockets compared to like a similarly sized photo card. But still, you know, pretty close to a perfect fit. I have blank playing card fillers here. And then pre-order, what are these? The Target pre-order bonuses for, you know, the Nyan normal photo book versions, which were these coasters. Then between 1 and 2 postcards. more Polaroid cards, a full OT9 set from between 1 and 2, and a full OT9 set kind of shows even better than the Imnayan set of 4, just how perfectly these kind of fit in these large 9-pocket pages. Super happy with how clean this looks. Like, goddamn, I had these in a layout in the 8-pocket pages before, like in the Ultra Pro 8-pocket pages, similar to how I described the Ewo message cards, and it looks somehow even worse. The 6-pocket like photo strip pages make a return for the film strip stickers from between 1 and 2. They fit pretty cleanly here, and again, I have the 3 two-way page set up, so Najangmo, Saji Mi on the back, Dache2 on the second page. 6-pocket pages make a return for the first of this type of inclusion. These are the Digipack Preorder square cards for Ready to Be. Other than them being square, they're pretty similar in size, a little bit smaller than the coaster cards from some of the previous albums, but fit more or less the same way. They're a little smaller enough that they kind of, the only complaint I have with these is that they're smaller enough than the coaster cards that they don't really stay in place in the pockets as well as those cards do, as the coaster cards, especially since I do have these sleeved in these Mondu Deco sleeves. Therefore, square 93 by 93 millimeter postcards. I think Mondu Deco actually literally made those, like these square sleeves for this exact inclusion, like the Ready to Be square Digipack cards. Because when they came out around the time of Ready to Be, as far as I can tell. And their listing on their website actually uses the Ready to Be square cards to like show off the sleeve. So since I'm pretty sure that is the case, that they were made for these cards, obviously they fit pretty close to perfectly. And then I have them formatted the same way as the coaster cards, Najongmo, Sajimi, Dache2. Also have Jihyo's Zone card here, since it doesn't really have anywhere to go besides there. Ready to Be postcards. The Ready to Be Digipack circle cards, or circle stickers rather. Again, the large 9-pocket pages come in clutch. Probably the page I'm the happiest with overall in this binder, because it allowed me to store what essentially ended up being a ton of inclusions that were just barely too big for normal 9-pocket pages, but too small to really store in any other type of page really cleanly. And this page was like comes in so clutch for that sort of thing. So I'm not going to demonstrate it because I don't want to bother taking one of the stickers out, but these do not fit in 9-pocket pages from like Ultra Pro or BCW, like standard A4 9-pocket pages. They're just a little too like, you know, the diameter is just a little too big to actually go in the pocket horizontally, so they just don't fit. Whereas here they fit very comfortably, but just barely like snugly enough on the horizontal of each pocket that you can slide them in and stop them like in the center, and they'll stay in place. Like they don't move around at all. They aren't like scary, like tight to put in, but they like the pocket holds them in place really well. So I have them like centered on each row, and it creates a really nice, like it's just a really clean layout. So really happy with this page. And the mini posters for Ready to Be. Now, you might see these, and if you are a Twice collector of large inclusions for previous albums as well, you might notice, hey, wait, Ready to Be is not the first mini album that had, it's not the first Twice Korean album that had mini posters as an inclusion. In fact, all the way back in Ewo were the first mini posters we had, and we've had them for quite a few albums since then. Like most albums since Ewo have had mini posters as an inclusion. So why are we just now seeing Ready to Be mini posters here? I do collect and have all of the mini posters for every Korean album they've ever released, so, like, you know, since EWO when they started them. They just aren't in this Meowcafe binder. So they're the only type of large inclusion for Korean albums that I don't have stored in this binder so far. Because I'll show after this binder, I have an alternate solution I have been using for a couple years now that I'm pretty invested in, both monetarily and I really like it still. So I'm kind of test driving using these Meowcafe Shop A4 Plus 1-pocket pages for the ready-to-be posters, which are the largest posters Twice have ever done for mini posters from albums. So, you know, obviously since these fit pretty much perfectly, these 1-pocket pages would fit any of their other mini posters. So I'm not worried about that. But I'm kind of test driving just the idea of having them in this binder, because it would entail getting like 3 or 4 more packs of these pages, and B, kind of just abandoning my previous storage solution for these mini posters, which again I'll show in just a minute. But so that's why these are the only set of mini posters in here, because I'm using them as like a test drive to just see how I feel about it. But can recommend the pages themselves. Same high quality material as the other Meowcafe Shop pages. Same, you know, visual clarity offered by said material, and they fit, you know, perfectly. At least the ready-to-be mini posters do. And then the zone inclusions, which are the last set of inclusions in this binder. I do have some with youth inclusions, but I'm waiting to store any of them until I get the full set of inclusions. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, that'll be probably my next video. So zone postcards, assorted zone inclusions from the photo book and Digipack versions. We have the message booklets from the normal photo book version. So these are little booklets that have, when you open them, they fold open like accordion style and have messages from the members, like from the other Twice members. Then the same sort of sticker card, like circle stickers from her Digipack as the ready-to-be Digipacks. I'm actually missing, this is the third, so she has 3 types of the Digipack circle stickers for Zone. You'll notice I only have 2 different types here, this one, and then this one's a duplicate of this one. The third type of her circle sticker is literally the only Zone album inclusion across any of the versions that I'm missing. So it's actually kind of hard to find inclusions like that. Like I haven't even found, not that I'm looking as hard as I should be, but I haven't even casually ever come across like that sticker for sale. I think people just don't bother posting certain things, and the circle stickers are probably one of them because they assume no one will buy them. But, you know, I would. At least this one, the one I'm missing. And then her Digipack Polaroid card, which I don't believe was a pre-order bonus. I believe was just part of her inclusions. Then the clear or transparent film strips that are the pre-order bonuses that are essentially the equivalent of the JYP like POB packs of cards that are pre-order bonuses for the photo book versions of Twice group albums. These are essentially the equivalents of those for each version of the photo book, like the normal album version specifically, not the Digipack. And these are the 6-pocket strip pages that have popped up a couple times. And finally, the first time we're actually seeing Meowcafe Shop brand 8-pocket pages. I got them without really intending, like knowing for sure what I would use them for, just assuming I would have something that would need them. Nothing before this, like nothing over here, like that's a normal, like commonly collected album inclusion really did end up needing the Meowcafe Shop 8-pocket pages, which are just flat out just straight upgrades in terms of pocket size to their Ultra Pro or BCW equivalent. But what does fit pretty cleanly are something I did collect these. Like I had them in 8 pocket pages of those other brands. They didn't fit as well. But I have collected these for a long time. These are the pre-order set packs, like the actual card sleeve packs that the JYP pre-order set cards come in. Since they started with Lane 1, so they actually didn't do them for the first 2 albums. Sorry again for that cut. Another bit of an issue with my camera, but should be good now. So, what was I saying? It's been a couple minutes. I let the music turn off. I guess it doesn't really matter too much. Oh, now my dog's barking. I wonder why. I'm just gonna let her. She'll be fine. Let's play between 1 and 2. Okay. So, what was I saying before? I was talking about the JYP POB like set sleeves. Yeah, no one really that I've ever seen collects these. I have no doubt there are other people who collect these, but I think it's just pretty uncommon. Most people just either throw these in a box or something, or away maybe. I've got I got all of them, including all the way up through With Youth, the current era. I'm missing one of the sleeves themselves, along with that corresponding POB set. I have every other sleeve and set of cards themselves, except for the one I'm missing, which we'll see in just a moment. As for the page itself, I think that was the last thing I kind of mentioned, that this is just a strict upgrade in terms of obviously keeping consistent with the Meowcafe shop versus Ultra Pro and BCW, like the quality of the material, just higher for Meowcafe. But also the pocket size itself, again, the A4 Plus allows for larger pockets of like the same pocket count as the Ultra Pro and BCW counterparts. Same case here. These are just larger pockets for an 8 pocket page. This Summer Nights set is the one I was talking about, the one I'm missing. Both, again, the sleeve and the set itself. Otherwise, got every single one. And that's pretty much it for my large inclusions binder. Pretty happy with how I've set this up in the past month or so, which is about the timetable that I started ordering from Meowcafe shop to kind of... My first order was like more of a test. I forgot what I ordered. I guess it wasn't really a test. I think my first order was the binder. I had done a lot of research and was pretty comfortable investing into the A4 binder, as well as a few pages that I would, have been interested in. And then my second order ended up being just more of of certain pages, as well as some extra pages that I hadn't really wanted to commit to on my first order. And here we are now. As well as the A5 binder that I showed off in my previous video. The one before this one. The one that should be before this one, ideally. Which is this. This is the A5 Meowcafe shop binder, the 2-inch one that I set up in my previous video. I ended up taking the strap off because I think I'd have to go watch. I wish I had watched the end of that video right before I recorded this. I think I remember mentioning an issue that I noticed near the end of that video with the strap kind of like causing a weird bending effect. Like this. The strap was like squeezing the tips of the covers together and causing the front pages to like kind of bend up. But if you just don't, if you just let it sit, well, it's hard to show here, but if you let it sit, it doesn't do that. The pages sit flat. I can't really show it because of the angle I have to turn it to get it on camera, but it's fine without the strap. I believe I also remember, I'm just going to go through it real quick, since in that same video, also would have shown the materials I'm using. They haven't changed since that video, but I'll actually do so by... I have a lot of this stuff on the way for with youth. So I think I don't know where I'm gonna put. So 2 things I got in terms of actual photo cards pretty recently, a couple days ago, are these. These are Dahyun and Sui's Kakao Talk POBs, which is... The Kakao Talk POBs were a bit of a surprise because they weren't really technically like a store POB the same way like Blue Dream, With Moo, JYP Shop, Soundwave store POBs are. They were like... they were for the Digipack, so they're technically like Digipack POBs, but they were also like part of like... I don't even really know. They were part of like a Kakao Talk like gifting thing, like if you ordered albums as like a gift or something. I don't really know for sure, but they are official like through Kakao Talk. Like they're essentially Kakao Talk store POBs, even though Kakao Talk isn't really a store. I guess I learned you can buy albums through Kakao Talk. I didn't know that. But you can, and these are official Kakao Talk POBs. I'm just going to treat them like... I guess I'll treat them as Digipack POBs. It doesn't really matter too much. I'm going to go ahead and sleeve, and... because these sleeves I'm using are not the sleeves I'm going to put in the pages. Or, use to put them in the pages. I'm going to use these for the inner sleeves. They make a return, the Photocard size sleeves. And you can see here, they fit what is essentially like I think I mentioned this earlier in the video, that twice POBs at least, POBs and Lucky Draws, well, store POBs and Lucky Draws. Again, I have to clarify because they do POB card sets, like JYP themselves, like with the albums, but then they do the store POBs. I wish there was a different word for one of them, but store POBs at least are, along with Lucky Draws, always album photo card size. Like the cards themselves are the exact same dimensions as album photo cards. So anything I use that fits an album photo card will work the same way with these store POBs, which is pretty nice. God, Basics is so good. Oh wait, hold on. I forgot I'm supposed to put them right side up, because I double sleeve for my POBs as of my most recent video. And I actually sleeve in the Dragon Shield Clear Classics, the same sleeves I use for my album collection as the outer sleeve. And funnily enough, the sleeve you saw me pull out just now was literally the last sleeve remaining in that box. So I'll have to crack open this box, which is randomly also open and close to empty, but still has maybe 15 or 20 sleeves. So there we go. So for POBs, I use sleeves that I use in other places too. Like I showed these already, and I also showed my Dragon Shields on my main album collection. So nothing new there. The new thing here is obviously the A5 form factor itself, and specifically these are the pages. Again, Meowcafe Shop. Meowcafe Shop binders for A5. Again, they kind of departed. Same thing with like the A4 having 4 rings for them. Even though the A4 is like an A4 Plus, it's like a bigger form factor. This is just a normal, like obviously the binder cover itself is quite a bit bigger than most A5 binders, but the setup is not meant, like the ring setup is not meant for pages that are bigger necessarily than normal A5 pages. And you can actually see these pages do have the normal 6 holes set up. It's covered by this, but they're 7-hole pages, but these 6 holes do let them work with standard, more common 6-ring A5 binders that a lot of people watching this video might, be using. The extra 7th hole allows it to function in Meowcafe Shop's own 3-ring A5 binders, which is a pretty uncommon setup. I don't know if I've ever seen a 3-ring A5 binder. I'm sure they didn't invent it. Like, I'm sure it's been done at least at all before, but pretty uncommon. I don't know if it's a regional thing, like I mentioned with the 4-ring and 3-ring binders, but I don't see it very often, so there you go. These pages are sized for these. So a lot of, maybe I can pull an example. Okay, sorry, I had to look for a second. So this is a used, like, older, kind of dirty-ish page. This is not a Meowcafe Shop page, so missing the center hole would not work in Meowcafe Shop's binder because of that. Does obviously, with the 6 standard holes, work in most A5 6-ring binders. The main difference, aside obviously from the ring hole setup between this page and a Meowcafe, well, specifically these Meowcafe Shop A5 pages, are the size of the sleeves it accommodates. So I'll just show with this Tsui card. The pockets are just flat out bigger on the Meowcafe Shop binder, or the pages rather. See, just does not quite go in. It's all the way on this left edge, and still the sleeve is going over the seam that divides the pockets. So yeah, they just don't work in. And this is a pretty standard problem. There are some other brands of normal, like 6-hole A5 pages that do have pockets big enough. Amifa is a pretty popular one that have pockets big enough to hold standard size sleeves, like Dragon Shield classic sleeves, as well as, people who use Ultra Pro standard size sleeves, etc. But it's a pretty common issue that most of these 4-pocket pages for 6-ring A5 binders do have pockets that are just a little too small to fit these larger sleeves. You have to have a more fitted sleeve usually to make these work. So that's pretty nice. I intentionally did order this size for that reason, because I did want to use larger sleeves. So worked out pretty well. They do, Meowcafe Shop also does sell 4-pocket pages in A5 size with more standard, like smaller, slimmer pockets, as well as obviously a bunch of other just pocket layouts in general, like 2 pockets, 1 pockets, etc. So, but I don't have any of those because I only use A5 binders, like for Photocards specifically. Well, actually, that's not true, is it? I'm only going to use Meowcafe Shop's A5 binder for POBs, for store POBs. I misspoke there, because what I'm about to show is actually some more A5 binders. Three, in fact. So I'll go through this one first. This is one that you may have seen before. It's a pretty common, it used to be a more common brand for people who were wanting to collect photocards and store them in A5s. Beyond D is a Korean brand, Korean stationery brand, I believe. The main draw of this binder back in the day being like a couple years ago, was the pocket on the front. People just really like the aesthetic of having like a little photocard photo pocket on the front of the binder. This Polaroid is just a freebie Polaroid that I really liked that happened to feature my top two. So other than the pocket and like the kind of branding of, you know, the binder itself, this is not an uncommon, like particularly high quality binder. Like this is like this frosted, like semi-rigid plastic for the cover is pretty common. It's nice, like this, like for what it is, for this type of binder, it's one of the nicer. It is one of the nicer ones. I've had other binders from like Amazon that look a lot like this that aren't quite as nice, like noticeably not as nice. But this is like, this binder is like $30 on the site I got it from. I get most of my B-on-D, or used to, because I haven't used B-on-D in a while. This binder is full of stuff, but I'm slowly taking stuff out of it to put in other binders. But I still have some stuff in it. And back when I used to actively buy B-on-D stuff, the shop I used was Mochi Things, which is a US-based shop that imports this stuff. Because, again, this is a Korean brand, B-on-D. Not terribly priced, considering this stuff is imported, but the binder itself does run about $25 before shipping off of that website. Still, that's, to my knowledge, that site still exists and is still a good place to get this stuff if you don't want to do something like a group order, which I think people do run for B-on-D stuff still. But in addition to the binder itself, the pages I have in the binder are also all B-on-D brands, because they make the pages as well, that, you know, the A5 pages for their binder. So just going through them real quick, they have a couple different options. Again, this is all from a site called Mochi Things, based in the US. So this is a postcard page. It's sized pretty perfectly for, at least on the horizontal, for 4x6 postcards, which this is. This isn't an album postcard from Twice, but it is still a 4x6 postcard from specifically their 2023 Season's Greetings. Have Dahyun and Sui for that. Also have Dahyun and Sui, again, standard postcard size for the 2022 Season's Greetings. Again, a full OT9 postcard set for the And Twice repackage. Random Candy Pop postcard, official for sure. Like these are definitely official postcards, but I don't know where they're from because they're not album inclusions for sure. But very cute. I would definitely be interested in getting Sui's equivalents if I could just randomly find them one day. These pages are actually also one pocket pages, but just larger. Like they don't have, so these postcard pages for the 4x6 postcards hold the postcard in place more like tightly by having a little seam that basically creates, it kind of makes it like a almost 2-pocket page out of a 1-pocket page, but the first pocket on the left is like really slim, like pretty much unusable. So it's still pretty much a 1-pocket. They just added a little seam to make it a tighter fit. And then this is just a 1-pocket page without the seam, so just a little bit larger, and holds these larger World in a Day postcards, for which I have Nayeon, Dahyun, Chaeyoung, and Sui. These are an example of an inclusion that I'm going to vacate from this binder as soon as I get more of the 4-pocket pages for my Meowcafe A+ size binder. Or, wait, A4+ size binder, yeah. And these are postcards that are larger than 4x6, but they're still album inclusions. These might be the only postcards Twice have ever had as album inclusions. Well, this, and then these Lane 1 postcards, and then these Signal postcards back here. This set of postcards, like these 2 sets of postcards, might be the only album inclusions, like album inclusion postcards they've ever had that are larger than 4x6. So, wait, that's a good point. I actually don't know that they'll fit in. I don't know that they'll fit in Meowcafe shop 4-pocket pages. They probably won't. I'll have to think about that. Anyway, more postcards, smaller 4x6 ones. from Formula of Love. These are with Moo pre-order bonuses, so have Sana, Dahyun, Chaeyoung, and Sui. And that's it. I have some empty pages here from things that I've recently taken out. These are 2 pocket pages. Pretty good. I don't remember what I had in here. There's not many twice inclusions I think that would fit really well in here. It's just an awkward, like this pocket size is just kind of an awkward size for most twice inclusions, at least that I can think of at the moment. I did have something in there, but I don't recall what it was. Next, I'm going to show these 2 A5 binders. They're pretty similar, so I'll probably quickly show this one and then show that the setup is the same in this one. These are from a brand, the binders themselves are from a brand called Jumping Fox on Amazon. These binders I think are really, really nice. They're hardcover, really sturdy, like really sturdy. Hardcover, linen, like linen covered. I don't know if it's easy to see or hear, but these are linen covered binders with a little embossed flower symbol on both of them. They come with a strap for closure. And I found this brand on Amazon, actually. So Jumping Fox on Amazon, really well priced for what they are. Again, I can't stress how nice these binders are for like the 22 or 23 bucks that they cost each on Amazon. And they're normal 6-ring binders. Let's see. And as you can see, I'm using them for, this binder I'm using specifically for just kind of random assorted Dahyun, some Dahyun, mostly Tsui, kind of just random like non-album photo cards, but also non-album and non-POB or Lucky Draw. And I'm using, I don't recall the pages I'm using for these. Obviously they're not Meowcafe Shop A5 pages. I think I'm using Amifa pages for these. If not, I'm using B&D 4-pocket pages. I've gone through mostly those 2 brands over the years before I settled on Meowcafe Shop for at least my A5 POB binder. If I ever decide to get another A5 Meowcafe Shop binder and move this, like these 2 binders into it, which I might, then I'll obviously use Meowcafe Shop, A5 pages as well. But for now, these are either B&D or Amifa pages. Not really too much difference in quality. They're both pretty solid, but it's kind of standard. For the sleeves I use in this binder, because at least the B&D pages, for a long time I was using those, and they had the problem I mentioned where, unlike the Amifa pages or the Meowcafe Shop pages, the B&D pages, the pockets were too small to accommodate my standard size dragon shields. I actually started using these. And I wish I had the box for these. I have a box for a different colorway. But these are Japanese size, so smaller. These are Japanese size dragon shields, clear classics. And the only difference is the size. Like, these are pretty much the exact same sleeve as these in terms of material quality, clarity, etc. Only difference is Japanese size sleeves are just smaller. But they're still not so small that they're like very form-fitting. Like, you can still tell there's some leeway on the horizontal and even the vertical. They're still a little tiny bit too big. Not too big, but they're definitely less fitted than, say, these sleeves for specifically album-size photo cards, which this is. But didn't really want to use, like, they fit the pockets of B&D pages, like especially pretty snugly, so I didn't mind having them not fit the photo cards completely, like, have a perfect fit. And this is the box I mentioned of the Japanese sleeves. Let's see if I can get to focus. Yeah. Japanese size. You can tell that, like, you can instantly tell. Much smaller box. And like I mentioned, I don't really have the box for the clear ones. But these are just a random other colorway, gold matte. I'll show them just to see if y'all are curious about what they look like. I don't remember what I use these for. I think there was like a small period when I first started collecting where I wasn't sure if I was going to care about seeing my card backs. So I got these gold sleeves because I wanted to like bling out my collection a little bit. We'll use this extra With Youth Nemo Photocard Forever version to a special card that I just happened to have one extra of to show that, and again, this is an album size photocard, so you can see how it fits there. These would look pretty nice. Like if I had gone this way, it wouldn't have been a bad way to go in terms of like it does look nice. I don't hate the idea of using colored sleeves. Like I know a lot of collectors do use colored sleeves. I just like seeing the backs a little too much. If I did end up shifting to colored sleeves, I might still go with I would probably get boxes of like the classic size sleeves, like the standard size sleeves, instead of using these Japanese size sleeves in like for colored sleeves. But I just happened to buy like a box or two of these and still have them because I never ended up using much of them. But yeah, the clear Japanese sleeves are, again, the majority, or not the majority, just flat out what every card in this and this binder, which I'll show in a minute, are, stored in within the pages. With the small exception of a handful of cards, and you can see just a completely random assortment. Sorted semi-chronologically, but not actually, really. The main exception are these cards. Oh, these must be... Oh, I remember what these are. So these cards are Daikon, the first Daikon photo book from 2019, not the one they did in like 2021 or 22. These are photo cards that came with that photo book. It came with like a full OT9 set of these message cards and then these kind of like translucent cards. These are bigger than normal photo cards. I don't know if it's how easy it is to tell. Normal photo cards referring to album photo cards. You can see, we'll bring back the Tsui card. You can see, if I line it up on the bottom here, it's not really taller, but it is definitely wider. You can see the card on the back on both sides, right and left. So for that reason, I'm pretty sure now these are the Beyond E pages. They don't fit standard size Dragon Shields, or at least the ones I've shown already. But they do barely fit, not barely, somewhat snugly fit these, which are perfect fit Dragon Shields. These are soft sleeves as opposed to hard sleeves. The difference between those two things is kind of hard to explain unless you've held sleeves before, but basically these two types of sleeves are both meant for Magic the Gathering size standard cards. But a hard sleeve is it's a sleeve that, obviously sleeves are still pretty soft in terms of like not being rigid material. It's like soft, bendable, like malleable plastic. But hard sleeves like these are just thicker and like closer, like noticeably closer to being rigid than soft sleeves like this. But so what you're supposed to do if you're like a Magic the Gathering player is you have a Magic card and you want a double sleeve, you use one of these, a perfect fit sleeve, put it in there, then put it in a hard sleeve. So these are actually a little bit smaller because they're meant to fit into these. So I use these to sleeve like the handful of cards that are a little too big to fit, like, you know, Japanese size sleeves, that I wanted to store in these B&D A5 pages with the smaller pockets. But the pockets are too small for the hard dragon shields, so they do actually fit the soft dragon shields, the perfect fits. But yeah, besides cards, like the handful of cards like that are a little too big that I have to use these sleeves on, I'm using the aforementioned Japanese size sleeves. And that just kind of persists for most of this. And that's that binder. And then this binder very quickly. This is a lot easier to talk about in terms of what's in here. Same setup in terms of the pages and the sleeves, so I won't talk about those. But just, you know, for exposition, I guess. These cards are the 100 card sets of Photocards that came with the more recent mini Daikon set from 2021 or early 2022, I think it was. Unfortunately, this was a time where Jungyeon was kind of on a more intense part of her hiatus that actually prevented her from being part of this photo shoot. Even though by the time this came out, she was pretty much fully back and has been since, you know, luckily. But yeah, bit of a missing member for this set, unfortunately. But the other 8 did the damn thing. And yeah, that's the entire 100 card set for all of these. And that's just this binder, because the 100 photo cards is quite a lot. Next, we have something I mentioned earlier in the video, talking about the mini posters. And that is the alternative solution that I've been using for a couple years to, you know, I showed the ready-to-be mini posters in my Meowcafe shop binder in those one pocket pages. And then I mentioned, you know, I had an alternative solution I've been using for mini posters specifically that kind of has me on the fence about whether or not I'm going to change this for the Meowcafe shop solution. And that is this, which is a art portfolio. It's a rather large binder, definitely bigger than maybe even the Meowcafe shop binder. Let me see. It's actually pretty much the same. It's like actually very, very, very slightly taller, but so close to being the same that it might just be the same, and I'm just like, it's a perspective thing on my end. They're pretty similar in terms of height, and then the Meowcafe shop binder is a little wider still on the horizontal. But still a pretty big binder, because again, the Meowcafe shop binder is decently bigger than a normal A4. And again, this is an art portfolio meant for, I believe, like art prints specifically. This is from a brand called Itoya. Let's see if I can. Itoya. Itoya. And I actually found this on Amazon a couple years ago. As far as I can tell, I looked within the last like month or so, they still were selling this exact binder. This is a 9x12 size portfolio, or a portfolio meant for 9x12 pages specifically. And it's a 10 ring binder, which is pretty novel. I think that sets a record essentially for rings, like for rings in a single binder, in my experience at least. And it's a ring binder, so it uses refills. These pages from the same brand, Itoya. These are, again, 9x12 inch portfolio pages. And the cool thing about them is each page not only has the, the holes for the rings and the plastic pocket that essentially makes the page, but also in that pocket, each page has a black cardboard backing, which both acts as a divider to make it essentially a 2-pocket page, but also is just meant to give some rigidity to what would be art prints normally. And I'm using it for mini posters. And I have the entire 10-piece set of EWO posters, the group poster on the front I showed, and then each member poster. The Formula of Love, I think Target mini posters. These are official. I remember getting these in albums. I just don't remember if they were the Target albums. I think so. And then this is the Target result file poster. That sounds right. Imnayan album posters. Between 1 and 2 album posters. Just gonna go through it quick. Empty pages, because again, I had the ready to be posters in here until pretty recently, so didn't even bother to take the pages out, since I'm still on the fence on if I'm gonna put them back in here at some point. And then the Jihyo Zone album posters for both the normal versions and then the smaller Digipack posters. And then not a handful, like 4 or 5 with youth posters that I've acquired just from opening albums, but still, not the full set that I'm waiting on. And then that's it. So what's cool about this binder is that this is a really hot, this is a pretty premium feeling and looking way to store mini posters. I don't know how it comes across on camera, but this is a very nice looking, the pages look super nice and crisp. The binder itself looks great and is also very sturdy. Feels extremely sturdy and, just premium to the touch. But also costs about as much as you would probably expect by that description and also just looking at it. The binder itself runs, I think, about 40-ish bucks, which is as or more expensive than the A4 Plus binder from Meowcafe shop. And that binder is 2 inches and can hold a lot more pages of a lot different, pocket formats. Obviously, you pretty much have to use Meowcafe shop's own pages in that binder. But the options are there, right? This only really, in the grand scheme of my entire collection, this binder holds a pretty small part of it. I love the mini posters, an important part of it, for sure, an important part of my collection. But the mini posters are just one type of inclusion. That Meowcafe shop binder can hold these and every other inclusion too. So it's kind of, if I were making the decision now, but I hadn't bought either, more of the A4 Plus Meowcafe shop 1-pocket pages or this entire binder setup, this entire portfolio setup, I would probably go with the Meowcafe shop option. But I've invested enough in the portfolio and it does look great, now that I have it. So I'm just really on the fence about if I'm going to keep this as my mini poster option or not. In terms of price of that's another thing. Not only is the binder about 40-ish bucks, I believe, on Amazon at the moment, the refills are 20 to 25 bucks for 10. Yeah, 10. And I've had to buy, what's in here is probably about 40 plus refills. I bought 5. I know for a fact I've, over the years, bought 5 refill, or maybe 4, because I think it comes with 10 pages initially. So that's 150-ish bucks. Somewhere between 120 to 150-ish bucks for this entire setup with the current amount of pages I have. And again, I do have some left over. This is a pack that's about half full. So like maybe 5 or so pages still. But that's a pretty penny for storing just one type of inclusion. So I don't know. This is an option. Like I mentioned, this is a guide for materials, and this is an option that I can recommend if you want something just for mini posters that does look great, but like I mentioned, will cost as good as it looks. So, you know, do with that what you will. I don't regret necessarily the couple years of use I got out of this, even if I do end up changing. So there's that, but you know, it is costly relative to, especially in recent years, other options like the aforementioned Meowcafe stuff. Getting into the last couple of things I want to show. This is an Avery. So my 2 Korean album binders are, I mentioned, both cardinal binders. This is my only current Avery binder. Avery's a company I mentioned I've used, you know, other binders of theirs in the past, but over the years of changing out binders and binder layouts, ended up only using this one currently. And what I'm using it for are the JYP Shop POB sets. And you'll notice I'm actually not using Meowcafe Shop pages for this, even though they would work. I actually am using, also for the sleeves, I'm using, I believe these are the same Dragon Shield's Perfect Fits piece for the sleeves. So these are in soft sleeves in Ultra Pro Platinum 9-pocket pages, which I used to use only for my, or not only, but which I used to use for my Korean album cards and have since upgraded to the Meowcafe Shop pages. I'm sort of in between place with this part of my collection, the POB, like the JYP POBs, because what I want to do is grab some Meowcafe Shop 9-pocket pages with slimmer pockets, which they do offer, and actually use sleeves that are like fitted to this size of Photocard, which Meowcafe Shop also does make. So I'd buy all that from Meowcafe Shop. Haven't done that yet. I imagine it will work pretty well, and I'm gonna do it relatively soon. But for now, nothing really new here in terms of, like, you know, we've already seen the Ultra Pro pages. We've already seen the Dragon Shield Perfect Fit soft sleeves. I just happen to be using them uniquely together here for this part of my collection. And the only really unique thing is, I know a lot of people opt to put because a lot of these sets after What Is Love, like, pretty much always come with a group card. So there are 10 card sets, and each one will come with a group card that a lot of people just kind of put in the center pocket on the back, like facing the back. I don't fuck with that. It messes up the look of the backside of each page, in my opinion. So I kind of just have all of the group cards here in the back. And again, missing that Summer Night set. And I have a couple fillers to fill out pages where I want the next page to be, like, cleaner. Because I would like this page to be, like, cleanly these three version eras. And then this page can consequently be these four version eras with a center filler. So, you know, I keep everything chronological, but still kind of care about the layout of things. And then randomly just Jihyo's, I believe, Digipack pre-order card. I just really have no logical other place to put this. I just don't know where else to put this, to be honest. And it is technically a JYP POB. This isn't like a store POB. It's a JYP pre-order bonus. So it it kind of technically belongs in this part of my collection, even though it's very out of place. So we'll see. We'll see if that stays there, but last couple things are things that I either am not using anymore or am using very non-committally / just not for many things, but just kind of one-off options that I'll still mention because they are technically in use in my collection. And maybe you would like them. Maybe someone watching this might like some of these things. This is a B&D, another B&D product. Same as the A5, like frosted, semi-rigid binder that I showed off. This is a B&D, you can see the branding there. Mini one pocket binder. So it's a 3-ring binder, and it comes with 20 of these one pocket pages that are pretty much perfectly sized for album photo cards and literally nothing bigger. Like height wise, so for now I'm using it to store random cards that I don't really know what to do with, because I don't collect POBs for anyone, like store POBs for anyone besides Dahya and Sui. But I really like this Nyan POB. Plus, I just have it. Like, it just came with a group order that I got the Dahya and Sui's ready to be POBs in, and I didn't really feel like selling it because I just liked having it. I just like it. This is a Target POB I pulled from ready to be Target copies, and again, just didn't want to sell because I really like it. I just think she's insane in this outfit specifically, so. Like, I think this is one of her best outfits from that era. And then Jungyeon and Chaeyoung's 4th generation Photocards, because I sold the others and just never got around to selling these two. And kind of just gave up on it and decided to keep them. But yeah, I got this at the same shop. I got the other B&D stuff, like the A5 B&D stuff, mochi things. And again, as far as I know, they still do sell these on that site. Pretty cute. I probably will know, like, I'm trying to figure out somewhere to put these random assorted photo cards of other members that I want to keep, but don't currently have, like, a nicer solution for. This is not bad. Like, I know a lot of people do like these, like, kind of mini books, mini collect books, I think they're called. I got these. I say these because I have two, actually. I have this one, and the more and more random JYP POBs I have in the Senate, like, because they have little photo card pockets for you to, like, customize them. There's no real reason. Like, this one doesn't have Momo in it because this was going to be a Momo binder. Same thing with this. Nyan's isn't in here because it was going to be a Nyan binder or something. These are just the, like, cards I had extras of where their faces were in the right place on the card itself to, like, show up in the frame well. So nothing deeper than that, but still very cute. This one is actually just empty. I never really had much in it in the first place, and I just haven't for a little while now because I just don't really fuck with these, to be honest. Like, I bought them because I wanted to try them out because I had seen people hyping up these little mini collect books, and I get the appeal for people who do like them. They're not for me. They're just not efficient enough in terms of how much they can hold. They're cute, but not like that. Like the puffy texture is kind of weird. I don't know. A failed experiment, essentially. Like, I bought them thinking, well, I'll see if I like them, and then lo and behold, I don't. But if something like this does appeal to you for holding parts of your collection, I can say the quality itself is pretty high with the B&D brand ones specifically, which are these two. Like the material, like the puffy plastic glossy materials, pretty nice, even though I don't personally subjectively like it. Like, it is just objectively pretty nice. The construct of the binders themselves is pretty solid, like solid covers. I don't feel like it's flimsy at all. Solid ring structure, like the metal rings are a nice touch. A lot of these mini collect books that I've seen before have like pages, like come with preloaded pages glued to the spine, and I think that's a point of failure for a lot of those mini collect books. So the fact that these are ring binders, it's pretty cool, because it not only means obviously you can like put more of these little mini pages in if you need more or want more or can hold more, depending on how you have it set up, but you can take them out too. The pages themselves are pretty nice, roughly the same quality of material as the B&D A5 pages that I've shown in a couple of the other binders. Nothing special, but still pretty clear, pretty solid material overall. And I believe they actually, when you buy them on Mochi Things, I believe each book comes with 20 of these already, with, I don't remember if they came already in the books or just in a pack, like with the books, but each one does come with 20 pages. So there you go. The final B&D products that I have that I am still using, but again want to transition what I have stored in it out of, if I can in the near future, is this postcard book. Where's, yeah, there it is, B&D. Again, from Mochi Things. It's where I've gotten every single B&D thing specifically that I'm currently using. Comes with this little strap you put across the top and on the other side. I'm using it for some amount of my Yes I Am postcards, which I carefully ripped out of the like accordion envelope they came in along the perforations, so it wasn't too hard, but I was still very careful to not damage any of them. So I separated them and then stuck them in here. Yes I Am Sana, and then most of Yes I Am Mina. And some of Yes I Am Sui, but the rest of Yes I Am Sui postcards are somewhere else. I make it sound like I don't know where they are. I do know where they are, but they're essentially in an identical one of these. So I have two of these. But I kind of, again, it comes down to efficiency. Like, this is a really nice looking option to have this, like, postcards in. And it looks great, and the material quality is pretty good, even though it is, like I mentioned, one of those types of binders where the page capacity is static because the pages come glued to the binder instead of being removable, or like where you can put pages in or take pages out with a ring setup. No real problems. Like, I've never gotten the impression that the glue job is shoddy on this. It actually might not even be glue. It might be like some sort of weld. Yeah, it actually looks like heat welding. Either way, this was heat welded. That being the case, it works great. Like, the pages are very solidly attached to the cover, so that's good. But it just comes down to, this is still such an inefficient way, not only to store the postcards, but mostly to look at them. Like, if I want to look at the postcards in this binder, I have to do so much work to get all the way through all of them to TUI finally at the end. And then this doesn't even fit that many postcards in the grand scheme of things. So this is definitely an option. And these are 4x3 or 4x6 postcards. So these could definitely go in, again, Meowcafe shop, 4 pocket pages, which might be what I end up going with long term. But again, if the look of this and you don't mind the necessarily like slightly worse efficiency of storing in a bunch of single pockets, it's pretty solid. It looks great. Like it feels kind of nice to hold all these postcards in like this compact package. It is efficient in that way. It is efficient storing all these postcards in like such a handheld, like small form factor. But I don't mind a bigger binder that I can just look at more stuff more efficiently in. And it's really, yeah, it just comes down to the viewing experience for me. Like just appreciating my collection is just harder to do in something like this. So that's why I'm kind of looking to transition out of this, but I don't mind having it. And now that I'm looking, I think that's just about it. The last thing I'll go out on is something that's very niche that I'm not currently using, but will use once I start obtaining some higher value cards that I've been eyeing, mostly broadcast cards, or maybe even like some of the rarer Superstar JYP shop cards, or Superstar JYP cards, not JYP shop. And that is these. This is what are these called? These are magnetic one-touch hard cases for, just cards. This brand specifically, I forget what it's called. ProMold, I think? Yeah, I think that's the brand, ProMold. BCW and Ultra Pro make products like hard magnetic cases like this that are pretty similar to this. I did some research, and this is a brand that makes these cases just, some amount, like the quality on these is just a little bit nicer than the equivalents from BCW and Ultra Pro, but not by a ton. But these also aren't much more expensive than the Ultra Pro ones, so I just wanted to splurge for these in preparation for buying some high value cards. I actually have one that's open to demonstrate. Comes in 2 pieces. And they actually do fit sleeved cards. I'm just going to demonstrate with this Tsui card that's in a Japanese size Dragon Shield sleeve. It is a little small. I would recommend using... actually, do I just have a random card I can use that's... Let's see. Last random cut of the video, I promise. I had my lighting have an issue, but we're back. We're kind of nearing the end of what I wanted to talk about anyway, but gave me some time, a couple minutes to actually find a Jungyeon. Very cute. God, Jungyeon's so gorgeous, man. Has been since day dot. But find a Jungyeon page 2 album card in a Dragon Shield standard size clear classic, so the same sleeves, the sleeves I use for my Korean album collection. And this size of sleeve actually pretty much perfectly fills out the slot. You can see it moves a little bit, but is still more or less held in place like very solidly. Fills out the slot, the indentation in the back part of the case, and then You just slide the prongs down here into the slots and let it snap closed. And you have a very nicely magnetically sealed, not airtight obviously, but still very well protected, especially from UV. So these are really great not only for displaying a very nice or high value card in a more kind of premium way, like a premium looking way. Like this card looks like it's worth a lot more than the same card would just in hand, unsleeved and all. But you can also rely on specifically this brand. I don't know for sure if this is something offered by the same type of case from Ultra Pro or BCW, but it also blocks UV rays, which isn't really an issue that should come up very often for most people's photo cards, because most of obviously I have most of my stuff in binders and other storage solution that keeps them away from being having light directly shining on them, much less sunlight, just light in general shining on them for large chunks of time. Basically anytime I'm not actively viewing those parts of my collection. Obviously a binder is going to just keep light out of the stuff inside of it until I open the binder and kind of flip through and appreciate my collection. But for something like this, where you might have this on display with a stand such as this, if you have this set up like that and have it on maybe a shelf or something that does get exposed to sunlight sometimes throughout the day, maybe near a window, you can rely on this specific brand of case to protect from UV. And that's the main thing that will sun damage printed photos and Photocards basically. So that's pretty nice. It gives you a little more flexibility in what you can do with displaying this sort of thing. Obviously, I'm not going to leave that in there because that is a normal album card and it has a different spots it goes. But I would use something like this for, say, a broadcast card, or, like I mentioned, maybe some of the more expensive SSJYP cards. Just anything like that, anything that's worth a bit of extra protection. And honestly, that is pretty much it. I've gone through just about everything I use for storage and protection for my collection. Hopefully this was a pretty informative guide. I like to think I kept it mostly on topic, talking about the pros and cons of the different pages and how each, item or products I showed off could be used for specifically twice inclusions that you at home might be looking for some alternatives or some options you would have to store and display. So till next time, 100% this time my next video will be the with youth video. So I'll catch y'all later.